It was not unusual to find myself looking through my parents' old memory chest. A painted wooden box from the 1940s that my late great-grandmother Darlene passed down to my parents. It was filled to the brim with family photo albums and framed images. It was like a treasure chest of physical memory. On this particular day, while visiting my parents, I took everything out of the chest, lining the items up on the floor, trying to pull specific items away to work on my family archive, making sure everything was accounted for. After removing all of the bulky albums and other miscellaneous things, I found at the very bottom of the chest, tucked in the back corner, a small analog tape recorder. It was dark gray with red accents. It was scratched up and apparently had AM/FM radio features, but most importantly I saw that just behind the translucent display window, there was a tape in it.
Yeah.
I sent cards to all people at Marcus. I sent Lois.
I know it. They called me and told me. Then Mary got hers too.
Okay, because I sent one to her.
Yeah.
I sent one to Dolls and them.
You did. Where did you get them?
I sent one to Dolls and them.
Yeah. Where did you get the cards?
Well, we bought them at the PX. They got a little PX here, but they didn't have a big selection, so I got the best I could.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah, I enjoyed sending them.
Yeah, you doing all right?
I thought I had seen everything in that chest already, but this was completely new to me. Or at least it was the first time I had really seen it, and its significance as an audio relic, which was able to give me an impression of my young father and my family's dynamics before I was ever in the picture. I immediately scrambled through my parents' utility closet looking for AA batteries to throw into the device. I found a working pair and immediately rewound the tape to the beginning, plugged a pair of earphones into the jack, and played it to myself in a quiet room.
How y'all doing?
Well, we're doing pretty good. It's been snowing here.
Really?
Yeah.
Dad said it was snowing.
Oh, you called him?
Yeah, I was able to call them.
Well,
His
good.
North Texas accent was even more present and higher in pitch than I had ever heard,
Middle of the day, right?
with a little more vocal range.
About what time is it?
About 10:30.
It is.
About 10:30.
Well, it's about 1:22 here.
I'll be.
Yeah.
Sorry about waking y'all up.
Well, I wasn't asleep.
Oh, really?
Well, like I said, we were looking for your call just any time.
Yeah. Well, here I am giving you a holler.
Yeah, and I love you too, darling.
I love you, man.
And
Where's Grandpa at?
Here he is, and you talk to him now, and we miss you.
Oh, I miss you too.
You
Hey,
tell-
be around where I can say bye-bye to you.
I will. Okay.
All right.
I was curious about where this tape had come from, so I asked my dad if he had any memory of it.
My grandma and grandpa actually made this tape while I was deployed in Saudi Arabia, getting ready to launch into the ground war of Desert Storm, because they weren't sure whether they would hear my voice again. And so they really kind of made that tape for posterity.
How's it going, fella?
Hey there, how you doing?
Fine. How you doing, son?
Oh, I'm making it.
You are?
Making it pretty good.
Where are you? Whereabouts in Saudi Arabia? You never did give me a clock, face on an hour clock. How far are you from the border? Can you talk?
I'm not really sure.
That deep southern voice that's not my dad's was my great-grandfather's, my papa, who was a tall and cross-eyed man that would play dominoes with my dad every time my family would make our annual 6-hour trek north to Texarkana, Texas, where my granny and papa had lived for 60 years and where my dad was born.
All right. You got any hopes of coming home anytime soon, or are they giving you any indication?
They ain't told us nothing.
They haven't told you
Ain't heard
anything.
nothing. As a matter of fact, I'm relying on most of my reliable news coming out of the States in letters.
I see. Well,
I'm having to rely on most of my news, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent.
This was all incredibly interesting to me. To hear my dad, close to my age, and to hear his confusion and isolation, and to hear the absurdity of the entire situation, play out in a family dynamic. But what was really at the heart of this phone call for me was my granny and her voice, and how clearly her emotion came through, which is especially evident in the ending of this phone call, when the 6 minutes ran out and they had to say goodbye.
About the end of your time. Son, you take care of yourself. Here's Grandma.
Bye, darling.
Right.
I love you.
Hey, I love you too, Gran.
And Merry Christmas, baby. And happy birthday.
good.
Okay, and happy birthday. Bye-bye.
Graham.
Uh-huh.
Happy birthday belatedly. I'm sorry I missed.
Bye-bye, son. We'll see you.
Bye-bye. I love y'all.
I love you too. Bye.
And so, in particular, about this call, looking back on it 30 plus years later, I still feel the same emotions in me that I felt when I was making that call. I was, I guess, right at 19.
So you're the exact same age as Howard?
Either 19, yeah, right at 19, I think. Maybe 20, but 19, I think.
Howard was the name of my dad's uncle, my great uncle and my granny and papa's youngest son, who died in the Vietnam War at age 19 in July 1970. The reason why I brought up Howard in that conversation with my dad is because I had immediately seen connections between this phone call I discovered in some letters that my dad and I had visited together in the last few years. Letters that my great uncle Howard had written from Vietnam to my granny and papa. These letters spanned most of his service and went all the way up to the month of his death. My dad had always felt a connection with Howard, even outside of these letters.
My birth in December of 1969 kind of helped save my grandma and grandpa, because only 7 months later, their youngest child, Howard, was killed in Vietnam. But they had a new place to focus some of that parental energy, and as a matter of fact, my grandmother has told me in the past that when I was younger, that my voice reminded her so much of Howard's voice that it would freak her out in some of my younger years.
There were too many connections. My dad and I went back to the mystery chest and tried to locate Howard's letters he'd written home from Vietnam. My memory of them is that they were harrowing.
I'm holding a set of letters that demonstrate my Uncle Howard's mindset and life during the Vietnam War from January of 1970 until his death in July of 1970. May 1970. Dear Mom and Dad, well, here I am again in Vietnam on a trail after a little mean writing a letter. How are things going with y'all? Things over here are about the same, dull and nerve-wracking. How's everybody doing around the old home place? I never hear from anyone anymore except you. Good old Mom. I always could rely on you. My grandmother was consistently trying to send me letters, trying to send me care packages. she has always been a nurturer.
These parts of our family histories we forget, or we move on from, or time moves on from. But when you're lucky enough to get a glimpse back into time, you see that you're not alone in your being, but that you're a carrier of the spirit that's been passed down for 1,000,000 years.